Success looks good from a distance. They show you the highlight reel, the wins, the praise, the lifestyle. But here's what they don't talk about: the cost, the pressure, the isolation, the nights where the weight of your own ambition feels like it's crushing you from the inside. Everyone loves the outcome, but no one talks about the toll. No one tells you that chasing something bigger than yourself means giving up things most people aren't willing to lose. Your time, your peace, sometimes your relationships. You stop fitting in. You stop relating. You become harder to read. Not because you're cold, but because your world is operating on a different frequency. You start to realize that while others are living for the weekend, you're living for the next breakthrough. And that mindset shift, it can be lonely. You start to notice the looks, people wondering why you work so hard, why you're not satisfied with normal, why you're always reaching for more. You start to realize that the higher you climb, the quieter it gets. Fewer people understand you, fewer people check in, and you learn to keep moving without applause, because applause isn't fuel anymore. Conviction is. Success creates distance, not just from others, but sometimes from yourself. You forget what rest feels like. You second guess whether you're still climbing for the right reasons. You carry a version of yourself that looks strong on the outside, but inside, you're tired. You're questioning. You wonder if the sacrifices are even worth it. And sometimes when everything's quiet, you feel the silence hit different. It's not peace, it's pressure dressed up in stillness. But here's the part no one says out loud. You're not crazy for feeling that way. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're just walking a path most people will never understand. And while they post about hustle for likes, you're living the reality of what it means to build something real. This isn't about pity. This is about truth. And the truth is, success has a dark side, but if you can learn to face it, not run from it, you come out the other side with something more powerful than fame, money, or status. You come out with depth, with character, with substance. Nobody talks about how success can mess with your mind. You think reaching the next level will bring peace, but sometimes it just brings more pressure, more people watching, more expectations, more fear of slipping, of losing what you worked so hard to build. You're no longer chasing the dream. Now you're protecting it. And that shift, that quiet shift from ambition to anxiety, it can eat you alive if you're not ready. Because when you're grinding in the dark, no one sees the doubts, the questions you don't say out loud, the fear that maybe you peaked, that maybe you're one wrong move from watching it all fall apart. And what's worse, you can't tell anyone, because to them, you're the strong one, the example, the one who has it all figured out. So you carry the pressure alone and smile through the weight. And success doesn't give you more time to breathe. It demands more effort, more presence, more strength. Even when you feel like you're running on empty, burnout doesn't knock on the door. It breaks in. And when it does, you don't get sympathy. You get silence. Because everyone assumes you're fine. You're winning, right? But winning doesn't mean you're okay. Sometimes it just means you're good at hiding the struggle. And here's the truth no one posts about. You can have everything you once dreamed of and still feel like something's missing. You hit the goal, and suddenly there's nothing left to chase. No thrill, no urgency. Just a strange emptiness that makes you wonder, what now? Success is loud on the outside, but quiet on the inside. You hear your thoughts louder. You start to overanalyze, to overthink, because the world keeps cheering while your soul whispers, is this it? You start to understand that success isn't just about achievement. It's about endurance, mental resilience, the ability to keep showing up when the excitement fades, when the shine wears off, when your passion starts to feel like pressure. And that's where most people quit. Not publicly, but slowly, quietly. They lose the fire. They lose the why, but not you. Because you're not just chasing success, you're learning how to carry it. You're learning to fight through the weight, to breathe through the pressure, to keep showing up even when it feels like no one sees how hard it really is. That's not weakness, that's power. Success will test your relationships. Not everyone will celebrate your growth. Some will distance themselves from it, because your rise reminds them of their comfort. Your discipline reflects their distractions. Your vision makes their excuses louder. People you thought would always have your back, they start getting quiet. They stop understanding you. Some even root for you to fail. Quietly, silently, because watching you win makes them confront the fact that they never tried. That's the hidden cost. Not just the time, not just the pressure, but the realization that the higher you go, the fewer people can come with you. Conversations shift. You talk about purpose, discipline, growth. They talk about gossip and comfort. You start to feel the gap widen, and you wonder if success is worth the solitude. You start feeling like a stranger in your old life. You walk into the same rooms, but now everything feels different. The jokes don't land. The small talk feels heavy because your mind is elsewhere, on the mission. Let's be honest. It's lonely at the top, not because you want to be alone, but because your standards changed. And not everyone wanted to level up with you. You outgrow circles, you lose people, and not in anger, but in silence. They chose comfort. You chose evolution, and that choice, it hurts. It's not cold. It's not selfish. It's necessary. You weren't made to shrink yourself to keep others comfortable. And success doesn't wait for the group to get ready. It rewards the one who keeps climbing, even when the trail goes dark. Because if you want to become something extraordinary, you can't drag everyone with you. You can't explain your fire to people who've never felt the spark. And that's okay, because success is more than numbers, more than status. It's becoming someone who can't go back to the way it used to be. Someone who knows what it took to get here and refuses to let it go to waste. So yeah, it gets lonely, it gets heavy. But this path isn't about comfort, it's about clarity. And the clearer you get on who you are, the more you start to realize you were never meant to fit in. You were built to stand out. So keep climbing, keep evolving, because the ones who misunderstand you today will be the same ones quoting you tomorrow. Here's the part they'll never understand. Not until they've walked it, all the pressure, the silence, the sacrifice. It does something to you. It sharpens you. It burns away the ego. It kills the parts of you that were never built to last. And what's left, what remains after the struggle, is real. It's not for show. It's not for likes. It's not to prove anything. It's you, undeniable, unshakable, unstoppable. Because once you've been broken by the process and still chose to keep building, there's not a single thing the world can throw at you that you won't be ready for. That's why it's worth it. Not for the validation, not for the trophies, but for the strength no one can take from you. For the quiet confidence that only comes from knowing, I didn't quit, I grew. See, people look at success and they think it's about the outcome. But the real win, it's who you become in pursuit of it. You become disciplined in a world chasing shortcuts. You become grounded in a world that's always distracted. You become solid because you've been through storms and never let them change your direction. You become the kind of person who can carry pressure with poise, who can keep walking when the path disappears, who doesn't need motivation because purpose took its place. And maybe the world won't clap for that. Maybe they'll never know what it took, but you will. You'll know the early mornings when you had nothing left in the tank and still got up. You'll know the nights you felt invisible but kept showing up like it was day one. You'll know the relationships you lost, the comfort you gave up, the doubts you silenced, and still chose to build anyway. You'll remember the times you had every excuse to stop, but didn't. The moments no one saw, but you'll never forget. And one day, When they ask you how you made it, you won't talk about money or status or luck. You'll say, I outlasted the pain. I stayed when others folded. I kept climbing, even when it didn't make sense to. That's the dark side of success. It's real, it's raw, it's relentless. But for the ones who don't run from it, it builds something success alone never could: greatness.